Well, all right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane, the 18th of January, 2026. This is the 330th edition, and we have had an entire month since the last edition for a lot of reasons: holidays, travel, sicknesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here we are, ready to get back at it. Good to have everybody in there tonight. Let's do a little roll call here, see who we've got. Ken's in there, S2's in there, Carl and Peggy's in there, Daryl's in there, Lori's in there. Yeah, Lori's right. Lori, this family was hit with the flu, diagnosed flu that has a number and a name and all that stuff, right? We had our Zane's kids and their siblings, whose father is whose new father is in the Navy in Maine. So there's 6 of them. Zane and Abby had Colton and Paisley. Will and his first wife had Jackson and Gavin, and then Will and Abby had Bear and Kai. So there's 6 of the little Rugrats. And anyway, they were all down for Christmas and New Year's, because their other grandparents, Abby's folks, live here in the Atlanta area too. So when they travel down here, they get to see both sets of grandparents. But anyway, we didn't get to see them as much as we would like to, but we did get to see them over New Year's Eve. I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And it was great. It was all 6 of them, 6 of those kids, plus Hannah and her 2 kids, and me and Lori. And I'm getting to the flu story. Gavin had the sniffles. Gavin's about 12, I think. Lori, 11 or 12, 13. And he had the sniffles. Everybody else was okay. But of course, there was a lot of hugging and a lot of all that stuff. And we went home. Hannah went home. And next day, people started falling with the flu. 2 of those 6 kids ended up in the hospital, actually, and we saw them on the Thursday or the Friday, and they were flying back to Maine on the Saturday, and they had to cancel their flight home because of sickness. So I don't remember how many of them in that family got sick, but 2 of them were sick enough to be admitted to the hospital. Then Hannah got sick. Hannah's little daughter, Nyla, got sick. Carson got sick. Lori got sick. Most of the males did not get sick, including me. And I think I was lucky because the next day after that gathering, Lori went over to Hannah's house, which is on the other side of Atlanta, maybe 30 miles away. So I didn't have any residual contact, so it's a good thing. I never got sick, and Lori was at Hannah's house that entire week after sick. But anyway, yeah, that's how it was over the holiday. But it was worth it to see all those kids, even if you know you're going to get sick. Kids are a cesspool of germs in the first place. But anyway, yeah, I was all on my own here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. So I had no external influence, which was great. But I think everybody's on the mend. Everybody's fine. Lori's home now. Um, wishing, hopefully everybody else's New Year got off to a little bit better start than ours did. But well, let's see what else is going on around here. Uh, they had some snow. I don't see my dad, if my dad's on here yet, but they had snow in South Georgia, Central and South Georgia, and even in the Florida Panhandle. Our daughter-in-law, Caitlin, um, her mother had snow in Pensacola, Florida. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm glad that it happened today, this morning, early this morning, because I think it's all melted or will be melted. Because Lori and I are traveling right down through there on I-75 first thing in the morning. We're heading down to Punta Gorda, Florida, which is south of Tampa, south of Sarasota, and we're going to be spending the week down there. And we're driving. It's about a 8.5 hour drive. We'll stop at Buc-ee's in Fort Valley on the way down, but get gas and maybe a brisket sandwich or something. But anyway, so we're heading down to Florida, and had this plan for about a month and a half now. It's very exciting because you guys know we have a connection with a retreat in that area called My Warrior's Place that was founded by Kelly Kowal. We've had Kelly as a guest on the program here before a couple years ago, but Kelly lost her son Corey in Afghanistan. I guess it's been about 15, this will be year 16, I believe. But she wrote a whole book about the story and everything. You can get it, but Kelly Kowal is her last name, Kowall. And she chronicles how this whole retreat came about. It's a fascinating story. But anyway, so she's had this retreat that Lori and I have stayed at, visited, helped at, volunteered at, and we've become good friends with Kelly. And at work, I bring a bunch of my colleagues out there. We've done work out there before. You guys, we've cleaned up after hurricanes. We've done all the stuff. And that's in a little place called Ruskin, Florida, just south of Tampa, north of Sarasota. Well, she sold the Ruskin property, and there's a whole lot of reasons why. But she's so excited now. She has a brand new retreat that is even better. Let me show you some pictures of it real quick, just so you can get an idea. And Lori and I will be there all week, and we're going to take a whole bunch of other pictures. Might even do some live stream from there or something. But let me share what we're getting into here, and I'll tell you why we're going. See if I can remember how to do this. There we go. Let's share this one right here. There we go. You guys see that? That's a drone overhead view of the new property that sits right on this waterway in Punta Gorda. And you can see all the structures on the property. They're absolutely beautiful inside. Go to My Warrior's Place on her Facebook page, and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. Each of these, I think there's like 9 cottages, because see these three really big ones here? That's 2 actually. So that's a total of 6 of them. And there's another structure over here and then one back over here. But so she's renovated 2 of them that are themed. One of them has a music theme and one of them has a patriotic American theme. And she's just got both of those done in the last week. And I'm happy to report that Lori and I will be staying in the patriotic American themed cottage, which should be real fun, and real excited about that. But my challenge on this trip is to take the internet access. I don't know which building it's terminated in, and I'll be installing some equipment to provide an outdoor Wi-Fi coverage of the property, just like we did at the old location. In fact, we'll be reusing and repurposing all the equipment that is at the Ruskin location. In fact, I'm probably going to have to take a trip up to Ruskin to pick up all of that equipment, uninstall it there, and then bring it down to Punta Gorda. It's about an hour and 20-minute drive. But I told her, just wait till I get there. We'll figure everything out. And I've got basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I suppose if she's got room for us, we could always stay Friday. But I think the plan is for us to drive back on Friday. But my plan is to get that wireless network all installed to cover this entire property. So wherever you're at on the property, you'll have internet access, just like the old place. And I remotely monitor that, by the way. And that's the beauty of having a system that's connected to the cloud, is I can access it. I get alerts, alarms, and I can do things remotely. And it just helps her, for somebody to be able to watch it. And then, and there you go. So that's the challenge for the week. I hope I'm able to get it all done. The only challenge is at Ruskin, at the Ruskin location. Some of you have been there. At the Ruskin location, there are still two people at the Ruskin location. One in the cinder block building down by the river, and then there's an RV down by the river. There's only two guys on the property right now, and they need internet access. So I'm going to have to do something temporary so they can maintain internet access, pull all of that equipment back down to Punta Gorda, and get it all tested, do some software upgrades, all that kind of stuff. Then I think that property will be totally handed off over to the new owner, I think in April. So there you go. So anyway, there's another picture here that kind of shows some of the dimensions here. Here's a direct overhead shot. You can see there's a little alcove there with some docks, and each of these buildings, you have places to sit out here. There's a area with a fire pit and all kind of stuff. I think these are some storage building. I'm hoping she has a good storage building out here with all of the ladders and different things I might need. But anyway, so there you go. So now you all have another place that you can put on your travel schedule to get down to Punta Gorda. So it's another hour and a half south of Tampa, but it's absolutely beautiful, and looking forward to that. Lori and I visited Punta Gorda a couple years ago when Kelly opened the second location, which is sort of out in the middle of nothing in a swamp, actually. But there's a shooting range and all kind of stuff out there. But this opportunity with the third location came up, and now we're kind of putting that one ahead in the priority. So, but Lori and I were down there for that, and if you remember, my good friend Amy and her sister Barb and our old Air Force colleague Carrie all showed up and surprised us at the grand opening down there, and then we ended up, they had an Airbnb. We ended up going over there and spending some time with them, which leads me to the next subject, which isn't so exciting, and that is the fact that we lost Carrie to cancer just last week before, and actually flew up to Springfield, Missouri on Monday for the funeral at Missouri State Veterans Cemetery in Springfield, and got to see Amy and Barb. Amy and Barb were great. They picked me up at the airport. They didn't have to. I was just going to rent a car or do an Airbnb or do a Uber, but they were like, "No, we'll come get you." So they came and got me, and then took me back even on Tuesday, and but it was good to see Amy, Barb, and Amy's son Matt, and Carl and Peggy were there from Warsaw. And Carl, I think you said it was about an hour and a half away from you guys. Randy and Kathy Bergmeyer were there. They drove down from Illinois, and Mike and Joel and Roll drove down from Indiana. So it was a little gathering of some of us that used to fly with Carrie at REF Milden Hall back in the 80s. So it was good to see all of them. It was sad to see Carrie depart. I know that they're having a celebration of life for her, I think on the 30th or 31st, something like that, at the VFW where she was or the American Legion where she was a member. Let's see, we had some other folks jump in here. Matt Aaron's in. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Dave Service is in. Yeah, Dave, I know I reached out to you to see if you wanted to come and spend some time with me down there, and you told me you were heading to Savannah. So safe travels to you. A little bit of a drive as well. Let's see who else. Brenda Lusk is in there. Hey, Brenda. And Toby, my cousin's in there. Hey, Tobe. All right, I think we got everybody. And there's a lot of people, and some folks told me they tune in and they don't say anything, but they watch, and I appreciate that. Well, let's see what else is going on here. So we said goodbye to Carrie. Oh, health update. So you guys know I had the blood clots in my lungs back on Thanksgiving, and it takes them a while to do some of the tests that they need to do. I did go back for a follow-up to the doc, and she's like, well, all this looks good, all that looks good. They were trying to get to the cause and everything, and usually it is hereditary if it's unprovoked. Or if it's not hereditary and there's nothing in your family, it could always be a cancer that causes it. It's often the case that a cancer of some type can cause blood clotting and eventually embolism. So I was hoping it wasn't that. And she's like, well, your CT scan of the upper, your MRI of the upper, everything looks good. There's no cancer or anything there. I said, well, what about the bottom? What about the abdomen? And she says, well, you want to get that checked? And I said, well, heck, we might as well, right? And we did. So 2 Fridays ago, I had another CT scan on the bottom half, so they could check, do some looking around everything, and everything looked great. No problems at all. So now that's good news because that means there's no tumors or any suspicious activity. So it still leaves you to wonder what is going on there. So anyway, a lot of the blood tests they get right away, and all my numbers are good on all my blood and everything. But some of the blood tests they do where they look for genes, mutated genes, and things that you might inherit take a while longer. Well, those finally came in, and sure enough, they discovered that I have a rare. Evidently, it's very rare, even though my son Jackson has it. I wonder where he got it from. It's called protein S deficiency. It's even more rare than factor V, which is what Lori has, blood clotting disorder on her side. But anyway, so it looks like that's what it is somewhere in my family's history, mom, dad, or their parents or beyond, it has come down that avenue. And why it doesn't manifest until someone's in their 60s, I have no idea. Except our little guy Jackson, our little guy 29, I guess. He has the protein S deficiency, which is on my side, and he has the factor V, which is on Lori's side. So he got a double whammy in the blood clotting category there. So poor fella. So looks like all of us, Lori, me, Charlotte, Hannah, Jackson, are all on blood thinners, probably forever. But you know what? Small price to pay for staying alive. So staying alive. So there you go. Anyway, so that's all good news. And the other good news is through all of the scans and all the tests and everything, they've been able to check everything else out. My arteries are all good. My heart is good. All of that stuff. So that's good to know all of that. I don't eat kale. I'll eat bacon first, Carl. And I do eat leafy greens. So I eat leafy greens. So I eat Brussels sprouts and cabbage and broccoli. Yeah, which I like all those. Okay, well, let's see what else is going on. College football. So I hate that it goes on this long into the new year, but that final game is tomorrow night. So maybe Lori and I'm hoping Lori and I can get to where we're going by 5 or 5:30 and get settled in and maybe watch a little bit of that game tomorrow evening. Indiana and Miami should be a good one. They both played good this year. But what I'm most excited about is pitchers and catchers report on February 10th. So we're about 3 weeks away from spring training, which is great. All right. Well, let's see. You guys know, especially now that I've got a clean bill of health, you guys know that I'm a walker and I'm in a challenge right now at work. Another one I'm doing. The challenge was to do at least 5,000 steps a day, but I'm doing 10 a day because I don't want any of the rest of the guys to beat me. So I'm doing 10 a day. But I'm also doing a 50-mile march in August. The closer I get to it, the more scared I get about it. But anyway, last weekend, I attended the official kickoff. There was a webinar they did. They had a bunch of people local in Omaha. They met out at, gosh, I don't even remember where they met. Peter Kiewit, or I don't know where they met. Anyway, they met at some company's auditorium, but they did a live stream, and anyway, got all the details on what to expect and blah blah blah, and everything. So I feel a little more clued in on what to expect. There's a lot of things to consider. There's the type of shoes, the type of socks, the type of underwear, the type of clothing, the backpack, your hydration, um, all of that stuff. There's a lot of things to figure out. So I'm going to continue to get tips from people that have done it, especially my buddy Frank Williams, who is going to be doing it with me. Um, and so he'll have a lot of tips for me. But the next major thing that you have to do, well, first of all, I there's some minimum expectations. You got to attend that session, which I did. You've got to start a fundraising campaign, which I've done, and I've already had like 14 or 15 people contribute. I'm over half. I'm like 60% of my fundraising goal, which is $2,500. I'll keep putting that on the Speaking of Zane page if you guys want to help out. But so you have to do that, and then in April you have to do a 20-mile march, kind of a qualifier, just to see if you're up to it. So you got to do. They do it at Chalco Hills in Omaha area. I think it's Omaha, Millard, somewhere. So they do a 10-mile and then a 10-mile, kind of break it up in 10-mile chunks, but it's a 20-mile thing over about 6 hours. But there is a virtual option. So I thought about it, and certainly I could go up there and do it with everybody in Omaha in April. But there is a way you can do it from wherever you are. You just have to track. You have to be able to prove that you did it. So you get your trackers and all the stuff, right? I'm not worried about that. So we'll figure all that out. My buddy Frank is he's got an RV, and he's happens during the time when you have to do that. I forget the date in April, but he's going to be, he says, in Valdosta, Georgia. So he said, well, why don't you come down to Valdosta? Let's do the 10 miles or 20 miles together, maybe down there somewhere. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'd love to get up to Omaha before August, so maybe we'll do an Omaha trip in April and August. We'll see. Okay. Anyway, so that's fun, and just as exciting is the Running to Honor 5K that we're going to be doing in person this year for the very first time up in Michigan, and That'll be great. That's at the end of July. So I'll do that 5K, me, Lori, and we're working on other things with Zane's Battle Buddies and stuff. But we'll have the Running to Honor 5K that we'll do there. I've created a team. If anybody wants to be on that team and participate virtually from wherever you're at, some of you have done it in the past. If you go, I'll put that again on or you can go to running, just search running to honor, and I'll put it on the Speaking of Zane page again. But you can go there and they give you the option of joining a team. You can join the Speaking of Zane team if you want to. And I don't know, it's like $40 or something, registration fee, something like that. You get a really nice shirt, finisher's medal, race bib, all the stuff. All right, let's see. So that'd be fun. So we'll do that. And then it's looking like let's see, when is that? Let me look at my calendar here so I'll make sure I get the dates right. Yeah, that's on the 25th. Yeah. So Saturday the 25th. Is that right, Lori? Yeah, Saturday the 25th in Michigan. What got me confused, I think last year it was on like the last day of July. This year it's on the 25th. And then I'll be going to London it looks like the first 2 weeks of August. So I've already planned to do the 5K again in London and in Amsterdam. So this year, I'll do the Running to Honor 5K 3 times, once in person, and then one in London with my team, one in Amsterdam with my team. And we're going to expand it this year. Last year I had about 30 in those 2 locations. This year we're going for 60 in those 2 locations. And so that'll be fun. All right, so stay tuned for that. We had some birthdays since we were last together, and I think I've got these accurate chronologically. We had Tyler's birthday is on December 21st. He was born at REF Lake and Heath, and back before the days of cell phones and internet, and Lori and I did not know what the heck we were doing, but she did a great job over about 52 hours of labor, and then Tyler was born. And her best friend, also called Lori, had their baby on the same day in the room next door. It was the craziest thing. I don't know if I've ever told that story or not, but her friend, whose name was also Lori, had their first baby on the same day as Tyler. I forget what was their son's name, Lori. I don't remember now. But anyway, that's a nice little fun fact. And then fast forward 4 years, and Zane's birthday was on December 29th, 1989. And he was born in Omaha. We had already rotated back to Offutt Air Force Base, and I think Tyler was 4 when Zane was born. And then my mom has a birthday every year on the day after Christmas. I didn't get them right chronologically. Mom's is on the 26th, and she would have been 81 this year, or last year, 81. And then our little granddaughter, our youngest son, Jackson's daughter, Carson, turned 6 on New Year's Eve. She's a New Year's Eve baby. And she has herself convinced that the whole world celebrates her birthday with fireworks. So anyway, I think she stayed the night with us on her birthday, if I remember right, but while her parents went out. Okay, well, let's see. Upcoming travel, I mentioned we're heading down tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I'm going to be wearing compression socks, even though I'm on a blood thinner now. Still going to wear compression socks on my lower legs. Not this week, next week, Heading to St. Louis for a few days. It'll be my first work trip of the year. And then the following week, which would be the first week of February, I'm going over to the London office. Doc said I can fly, no problem. So I'll spend, I don't know how long, 8 or 9 days, I think, this trip. And then back home for a couple of weeks. And then Lori and I are going on a vacation, actually. We are going to Costa Rica and on the Pacific Ocean side of Costa Rica for a glorious week at a resort. It's going to be awesome to get away, disconnect. So I'm sure we'll take a bunch of pictures there too and let you guys know how it was. Our daughter Charlotte has been there, so I got a few tips from her, but where hasn't she been, right? All right, hat of the week, hat of the week. The hat of the week always has something to do with what the heck is going on around here. So you probably figured out that I've got this gaudy Florida hat on with a alligator on the brim there. I don't think I'll wear it tomorrow. I'll look like a tourist, won't I? But anyway, kind of a cool hat. Lori and I picked this up on one of our trips down there. But anyway, that is the hat of the week. Okay, well, let's see what the heck is going on here. So here's where I need everybody's help because I don't know if I got the numbers right here on the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. I took a swag at it. It's been 4 weeks since we were last together. I think December 14th was the last edition of Speaking of Zane. So I know there's been some visits. Daryl, I always have Daryl down for at least a weekly visit. And I know there was a couple of reasons for him to do more. So I've got Daryl, since we were last together, down for 6 visits. I got my dad, my sis down for 8. May not be 100% accurate. We did go on an airboat ride. Yeah, we sure did. That was fun, actually. I enjoyed that more than I thought I would. Let's see. I did. I don't remember if we captured all the Wreaths Across America. Did we count the Wreaths Across America visits already? Because I think our last Speaking of Zane was like December 14th, and was it? Maybe it was the day after. Is it the day after Wreaths? Let me look here. That's what happens. Was that on the 13th? Yeah. Yeah, Wreaths Across America was on the 13th, I think, this year. So I think I already counted all the Wreath Across America visits. But Amy, Barb, Bergie, Carl, myself, all had Missouri Veterans Cemetery in Springfield, Missouri. So I've got all those logged. I'm pretty sure I already counted the Wreaths Across America. Carl, didn't you guys do, is it Sedalia that you guys do? I think I had that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let's see. And yeah, so I got all the Wreaths Across America visits already. Steve. Oh, you guys did Wreath, Steve? Okay. Very good. I know in Omaha, they did the Wreaths like a week. They did the wreath pickup a week later than they did them here in Georgia. So let me get Steve down for Omaha National. Yeah. Yeah, so if I add these up, then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 27. I'm going to say 27 since we were last together. That's a swag. And then we'll get the, so 27, that makes that. That would be 1670. So we're at 1,670 visits since we started tracking. No, I skipped this week in military history. Let me get back to that because there's a couple ones to call out. But yeah, let me do that now. So I got all the cemetery visits, 27 since we were last together. This week in military history had a couple. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of them because I didn't do a good job of tracking, but two that stood out. December 20th, 1989, Operation Just Cause, Panama, Noriega. You guys may remember that. And then yesterday, January 17th, 1991. I know everybody here remembers it well. Desert Storm kicked off. So Desert Shield transitioned into Desert Storm on January 17th, 1991. Remember it well. All right. Okay. All the thank yous are coming in here. Appreciate that. Let me get those. Logged here. I went back and I know I'm coming up short on this, but I've counted 20 since we were last together for myself. There's probably a few others in there. Oh, you know what? That's 21. I had a really good conversation with a dude. I had my Air Force hat on in the Kroger, and dude said, "Hey, I like your hat." I said, "Thanks." He says, "Where'd you serve?" And we started talking, and he lives right here in Ackworth area, like a subdivision over Seven Oaks. And anyway, he about my age, 1 year younger, I think. Went in the Air Force in 1982 as an enlisted guy, and then transitioned to the Air Guard and became an officer and eventually a full colonel, and retired from the Georgia Air National Guard. But anyway, so he was real cool. We had a good chat. So 21 for me. Let's see. Dad's got. See if I can find. Where's your name at, Dad? Right here. So Dad's got 2 Navy. Oh, I just thought of another one. Hang on a second. Speaking of anesthesiologists. So Dad had 2 Navy. I had a Marine that did my CT scan. So that's 22 for me. He did my CT scan. Yeah, he was an enlisted Marine and got out and went to college and got in the medical profession. But yeah, we had a good chat. All right, so Dad's got the Navy. Lori's got 2 retired Army, Georgia State Trooper, and a Marine. So is that a total of 4? 2, 3, 4, total of 4? Lori, let's see. Lori's name. Okay. I knew Ken was going to come in big because we haven't met since he went on one of his big part-time gig visits. 37, incredible. Grand Falls, Montana. How about that? Yeah, Ken and I were talking. We were chatting on Facebook, and Steve, have you and Kathy been to that Ronald Reagan Missile Silo Museum up in where's it at, Ken? North Dakota? They do a really good job posting stuff on Facebook. They got a really cool curator, site manager up there, and I said, "Hey, Ken, you want to go to this missile museum?" And you could. He says, "Well, I think I could give the tour." And I said, "Well, you're certainly qualified." But they've done a good job of preserving that site, and it would be really cool to see. I've never been. I don't know if Steve and Kathy have been up there, but might be worth a little field trip. All right, let's see. So Lori got the 4. Ken 37. Let's say not sure if that's a record or not, but it's up there among the top. Steve got 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, Steve-O. Okay, did I get everybody? We got Mac Marine, got Lori, got Steve, got Ken. All right. Hey, Q, do you want to count any of your veteran interactions at the funeral? Let's see. I know there was, how many of us was there? Let's just say it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to give you 5, Carl. That's just the ones of us. Okay, there you go. There you go. I got it right. Elaborate on that, S2. On the 14th, what's that? All right, so let me total these up here. I'll have to get my calculator out real quick, and I don't make any arithmetic mistakes. Total these bad boys up. 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus Ken's big whopping 37. 2 plus 5. All right, so we'll go with that, and that gives us 76. 76. I know we're probably more than that because we didn't really track that closely since we were last together, but 76 is good. We'll add that to the current total, which is 38, 77, and that gives us 3953, coming up on that 4,000 mark for sure. 3,953. So there you go, 47 more, and we'll be good. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing that, and obviously, it's a good thing to acknowledge veterans, first responders, thank them, or just strike up a conversation. I always have a good time when I run across somebody at the store. All right, let's see. Anything new on the organizations? The only thing I already mentioned, Running Donna, I already mentioned the 50-mile march, and I mentioned my Warriors place. So there you go. There you go. Looking forward to a good week ahead. I've got, tomorrow's a holiday, obviously, and we'll be driving all day. Tuesday, I've got a couple of calls that I have to make for work. So I'll be doing the stuff and then have to stop for those 2 calls for about 45 minutes for one of them, 15 for the other. So not too shabby. And I'll be spending most of Tuesday getting my game plan together on what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, what I need from Kelly. Then I've got my buddy Nathan, who's a Marine Corps veteran that lives down there in Lakewood Ranch, which is north of Sarasota, which is north of Punta Gorda. He's going to come out and help me. He's real familiar with my Warriors place. He's helped out, time and time again. Anyway, he's going to help me on probably Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday would probably be getting all the stuff from Ruskin, taking everything down, packing it all up, bringing it down to Punta Gorda, and see what kind of time we have left in the day. And then we have all day Thursday to build it up on the new location, make sure it's working, do the upgrades, all the things we need to do. And then drive home on Friday. So we'll see how things play out, but I'm not doing any work, my employer work on Wednesday and Thursday. Actually, I do have about a 15-minute call on Wednesday, but it's okay. It's It'll be quick, but I have to take that. But the rest of the time, I'm good to go. But all right, well, keep us in your thoughts as we travel for about 9 hours tomorrow, and we'll look forward. Let's see, next Sunday night, we'll look forward to jumping right back into the next edition of Speaking of Zane. We'll be able to talk about everything that we did over the week and add up our cemetery visits and our Thank a Vet challenge and meet up with you all again. But have a great week, whether you're working, whether you're retired, whether you're in school, make it count. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday night right here on Speaking of Zane. See you later.